Today's a WRAL weather alert day. We have the potential for some localized flooding up to 1 to 3 inches in a few spots, mainly this afternoon. I'll walk you through the timeline.
Barricade situation. This is a live look from the WRAL breaking news tracker in Rocky Mount. Police have had an apartment complex surrounded for about 5 hours now. What we know about the shooting call that brought them there.
And mental health resources. Kids in Wake County will have more tools available to them this school year. How schools are expanding their services to help more students. A lot to tell you about here on this Thursday morning, and it's a milestone morning of sorts. It's a new chapter for WRAL's Morning News as Chris Lovingood sliding into this earlier time slot, and we'll be with you every morning from here on out.
And I'm glad to be here. I've already been waking up early if you've caught me in the live center, but now being a part of the mainstay team, it's an honor, and I'm happy to be here to do that. We want to begin the day talking about the weather situation because it is a WRAL weather alert day, but there's that flood risk, Elizabeth. Talk about that.
Chris, glad to have you here. We do have an elevated flood risk along and east of I-95, and that's new this morning. Earlier, the outlook for this morning was going to be, potentially just our northeastern counties were in that elevated risk, but it's the same weather pattern. Lots of heavy rain potential, especially this afternoon. We have some heavy rain down here around Charlotte. Some of that's been feeding into the Sandhills so far. Right now, just a few isolated showers around Sanford, and then up here in Halifax County. We'll jump up there in a second, but a little light rain in Sanford. Nothing in the Sandhills as heavy as it was this time yesterday, but up here, look around infield here and eastward across Halifax County, a couple little cells popping up with some thunder and lightning. We will have a better chance this afternoon, 30% chance this morning, 60% chance this afternoon. And of course, we want to share that new information from Aaron with you that just came in about an hour ago. Winds at 50 miles per hour, moving west at 17, so not much change from last night, but it is likely to pick up in intensity by the time we get to late tonight, early tomorrow. It is likely to be our first hurricane of the season, and we're beginning to see that northward push here in the path from the National Hurricane Center. I'll show you what our hurricane-specific models show coming up in just a bit.
All right, 6:01, Elizabeth. We're getting reports that part of the road is blocked because of this crash here on Lewisburg Road in northbound lanes, I should say, near Perry Creek Road. We're working to find out exactly what's going on, but just be mindful of that as you get ready to head up, particularly if you're coming in from Roseville in that particular area. Over in the Bull City, this Highway 501 at Duke Street, at Carver Street, we're not seeing any delays in that particular area, but I'll keep an eye on it and let you know if it will affect your morning commute. Let's stay in the Bull City, I-85 and Duke Street, traffic flowing nicely in all directions. In terms of other major routes heading into the Bull City and the capital city, let's check that for you. Let's start with the capital city. Just very little to no delays whatsoever. Just looking at a 1-minute delay coming in from Nidale. Similarly, in Wake Forest as well. But we're not seeing any delays on any of the major routes in the Bull City as well. You're getting ready to head into the car. Tune us in on the radio. We'll keep you updated. 101.5 HD3.
Ken, thank you. We are following breaking news. A person is barricaded inside an apartment in Rocky Mount, and officers have been there for 5 hours now. Ali Kadlambar is there in the WRAL breaking news tracker. Ali, police also told you someone else was shot.
Yes, in Rocky Mount, police say that person is listed as a stable condition, but right now this is a very active scene. Within the past 10 minutes, we've seen police get ready to set up and send up a drone over this. We know crisis negotiations team is here, a special response team, Rocky Mount police is here. So a lot going on here. We've seen police also speaking with people in the parking lot of this Rolling Meadows apartment complex. Now, we know from Rocky Mount Police this all started around 1:10 this morning. Police say a 23-year-old man was shot here, taken to the hospital, and is now listed as stable condition. As you can see, police are still investigating. We've seen detectives kind of gather around the back of that car right there. Looks like they're possibly communicating with other people who are working with this person who is barricaded still inside this unit. We're going to keep you guys updated throughout the morning. Reporting in Rocky Mount, Ali Kadlambar, WRAL News.
And Raleigh police are investigating an overnight shooting at a Days Inn. What you're seeing here is video from Glenwood Avenue last night. Police say one person was shot, and we're trying to find out more about that person's condition. At last check, police said there's no threat to the public.
Covering Wake County, schools will have new resources this year to help kids get mental health services. WRAL's Kelsey Coffey is live at Salem Middle School in Apex. And Kelsey, these expanded options include more telehealth opportunities.
Yes, Renee, they do. Wake school leaders are working to put more mental health services in your child's school. So this morning, they are going to talk about an expansion of a partnership with therapy services. Salem Middle School here is one school that's already participating in this program, and more schools will be added to this list. Last school year, 286 students received mental health services across the district. Right now, more than half of Wake County schools have a partnership with a therapy service. This new push comes after the district lost a $14 million mental health grant. That's because the Trump administration cut that funding. School leaders hope to close that gap by using these partnerships to offer virtual therapy to students. So we'll hear from a mental health expert and a Wake County Schools social worker later this morning at 9:30. They'll talk about this expansion, so we'll be sure to keep you updated on this new plan. Kelsey Coffey, WRAL News, live in Apex.
North Carolina students can no longer fail because they are absent from school. North Carolina schools made this change ahead of the new school year. The state says a quarter of public school students are chronically absent. That means they're missing 10% of their school days or more. One advocate believes attendance alone should not automatically determine a student's grade.
That's fair to the student for them to be pushed out of school just because of things that they may not be able to control.
WRAL reached out to some of the largest school districts in the area about their policies. And Wake County Schools says many high schools moved away from that practice before the state took this step.
Today, Nash County students and families can celebrate back to school season. There's going to be a free event. It's a back to school festival. There will be a petting zoo, door prizes, food trucks, and access to educational resources. This event runs from 6 to 8 this evening at Nash Community College. And just a reminder, parents, we have you covered for the start of the new school year. You can find out where to find the cheapest supplies, how to prepare your child for the first day, and so much more on WRAL.com. Just search the words back to school.
We are learning new information about the moments leading up to a deadly boat crash on Harris Lake. The crash killed 10-year-old Brooklyn Carroll and caused serious injuries for her friend's mother, Jennifer Staley. New search warrants say that the boat's driver, Quentin Kite, was on his phone. Warrants also say the owner of the boat, Anne Marie Flanagan, showed an officer a video of people wakeboarding. The timestamp was just 2 minutes before the first 911 call came in. Kite is accused of being drunk at the time of the crash. Both he and Flanagan are facing second-degree murder charges.
The mother of the victim in that deadly shooting at North Carolina Central University says her daughter was a domestic violence victim. London Powers was born and raised in D.C., and she was working on her master's degree in social work at NCCU. Powers was found shot at Durham apartment complex on Monday, and she died at the hospital. 23-year-old Damian Tinsley was found dead at that scene, and Durham police believe he is the suspect in that shooting. Powers' mother says there was a history of domestic violence between the two.
She's going back to that apartment to get her things out of there.
Yep, still focused on her goals. She was leaving. She was already done.
And I just had spoken to her like around 1:30, as a matter of fact, between 12 and 1:30, and then I get a call that this happened to her.
And she also says London decided to leave the relationship just before the shooting. In this story on WRAL.com, we have resources if you or someone you know has or is experiencing domestic violence.
A 15-year-old is accused of killing 3 of his family members in Harnett County. Investigators say the teen shot and killed his aunt and uncle, Sabrina and Danny Richards, as well as Danny's mother, Clara. The couple led Genesis Grace Ministry in Fayetteville. They were both decorated war veterans. A 10-year-old relative in the house called 911. And was not hurt. The teenage suspect was found nearly 6 hours later in the woods in Spring Lake.
A man is facing charges in connection to a road rage assault on US 301. Wilson PD says 60-year-old Michael Hackney was driving a pickup truck. They say a 16-year-old made a report saying Hackney nearly hit him. Well, after the teenager allowed the truck to pass, Hackney is accused of hitting his brakes right in front of that teenager. Police say that Hackney then got out of his truck, confronted the teen, and assaulted him. The teen has minor injuries, and Hackney is charged with misdemeanor simple assault and misdemeanor larceny.
President Donald Trump is issuing a warning to Russia ahead of his meeting with Vladimir Putin tomorrow. He says if Russia does not end the war with Ukraine, there could be very severe consequences. consequences. The president spoke with Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky over the phone ahead of the summit in Alaska. Trump told the Ukrainian president that he is entering tomorrow's meeting with the hopes of getting a ceasefire agreement. Zelensky has warned of stronger sanctions if Russia does not agree to a truce. He was not invited to the summit in Alaska.
Homeland Security agents were seen arresting a food truck vendor near the Lincoln Memorial in D.C. The agency is working with Metro Police as part of President Donald Trump's plan to combat crime in the city. Multiple squad cars surrounded the area while agents talked to that vendor in an unmarked car. But there's no confirmation yet on why that man was arrested.
Today, we're getting another look at what could be leading you to pay more for certain products. The Producer Price Index comes out this morning. It tracks the prices producers and manufacturers receive for their goods from retailers and distributors. When prices get high for them, they could potentially pass those costs to you. Today's report is scheduled to be released around 8:30. From the NHL to the NBA, the owner of the Carolina Hurricanes is buying the Portland Trail Blazers. Why team officials say his goals for the Triangle are still the same despite the big purchase.
Apex parking problem. Town leaders are in disagreement about where high school students are leaving their cars for a fee. Why a woman's property is the center of the concern.
And I'm tracking a few showers showing up on Dual Doppler 5000 radar this morning. I'll show you when the rain becomes heavier and more intense coming up.
As you get into your car, tune to WRAL News Plus on your radio. In Raleigh on 99.3 FM. In Durham, 96.5 FM. And everywhere on 101.5 HD3.
6:13 on this WRAL weather alert day. This morning we have just a few scattered light showers, nothing terribly heavy. We do have another heavier band of rain that's back over here near Charlotte. As that first round moved in, we've really seen it dissipating pretty quickly, though. Just a little light rain around Sanford, and now moving into Southern Pines, we're seeing a bit more rain. Also up here to the north and east, way up here around Enfield and Halifax County, there have been just some tiny cells that have popped up with some heavy rain and some lightning. So a little bit of activity this morning, but not a lot. It does jump to 60% in terms of our chance later on today. Look at this. A little bit of clear sky showing up, a nice little sunrise developing here in Garner, but we'll talk more about when more rain is on the way coming up, Ken.
Elizabeth, weather and traffic every 10 minutes. We're going to stay on that northern loop of the Beltline, give you a live look at I-440 and New Bern Avenue. Traffic in the westbound lanes beginning to pick up just a bit, but, flowing nicely in all directions. We do have a couple of crashes there in northern Wake County, but nothing that's affecting your morning commute. One on Lewisburg Road. Over in Durham, this crash on Highway 501, not seeing any delays in that particular area. All those major routes into the Bolt City, though, delay-free. You're getting ready to head into the car. Tune us in on the radio, 101.5 HD3.
And happening right now in the WRAL Live Center, Israel's far-right finance minister just approved plans overnight for a settlement that would split East Jerusalem from the occupied West Bank. This is Israel's far-right minister here. This is a move his office said would bury the idea of a Palestinian state. Now, it was not immediately clear if Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu backed this plan. The minister is planning to hold a news conference later today. Israel planning on building more than 3,400 homes for Israeli settlers between an existing settlement in the West Bank and Jerusalem. Now, Israel had frozen construction plans there since 2012 because of objections from the U.S. and European allies.
Michelle, thanks. We are staying on top of breaking news out of Rocky Mount. You're looking live right now from the WRAL Breaking News Tracker. You can see police are outside an apartment complex where someone, we've learned, has barricaded themselves inside. And officers have been there since about 1 in the morning when they responded to a report of someone being shot. That person has since been taken to the hospital. Ali Kadlubar will be back in about 15 minutes with a live report there on the scene.
Carolina Hurricanes owner Tom Dundon is making a splash in the NBA. He is buying the Portland Trail Blazers. Now, details haven't been released publicly, but ESPN reports that deal was worth more than $4 billion. The move has some Canes fans wondering if or how this could affect their team.
I wasn't concerned about that he has to make that investment. I was concerned about where his mind and heart is.
Canes VP Mike Sondheim released a statement about this news. He said, quote, "This will not impact the Carolina Hurricanes, and Tom still wants to bring Major League Baseball to North Carolina."
People are trying to find a solution to the major parking shortage at Apex Friendship High School. It had gotten so bad that one neighbor was charging students for parking. Juniors and seniors get parking passes through a lottery process. If you don't get one, you have to park on neighborhood streets. In 2015, Annie Scott started letting students park in her yard for a fee. The town recently banned her from doing that. Mayor Jacques Gilbert says he is pushing to reestablish her lot, but he's facing some opposition.
Rezonings are costly. Miss Annie is not trying to become a elevated commercial business. She's simply trying to solve a problem.
I wouldn't want to live in those townhomes right behind this where there's a parking lot right behind your home when it should be just another residence.
The town council met this week to discuss a compromise. The matter was tabled until the next council meeting on August 26th.
Well, power's back on in a large portion of the Raleigh Village District this morning. A power outage knocked it out for hours yesterday, and this disrupted operations for stores and restaurants on the Oberlin Road side of the shopping area. Tupelo Honey, Moe's, and Starbucks had to close. Harris Teeter even lost power, but no word on what caused that outage. We have been watching very carefully what has been going on in the weather in terms of the tropics. We know that Elizabeth Gardner has been keeping her eye on Aaron right now. You've been seeing a trend a little more westward, but it's still too far out to tell where it's going to head.
We talked about this, when this formed on Monday, we said, boy, it's going to be a week and a half really before it's going to be something that impacts the U.S., if even then. So we're going to be watching this daily. So the latest update just came in a short time ago. It has winds at 50 miles per hour. That was the same as last night. It's moving west at 17. So not much change in terms of the stats, but as it moves westward, it'll move into an area that's more likely to allow it to gain some intensity. So potentially by Friday afternoon, we could see it as our first hurricane of the season. And boy, it rapidly intensifies up to a Category 3, and then it starts that northward turn. So the big question is, when is that turn going to happen? And this takes us out to 2 a.m. on Tuesday. That's as far as the National Hurricane Center's forecast fan goes. But we have these spaghetti models that we like to call them. These are actually hurricane-specific models, and we like to look at a lot of them because if we looked at just one of them, it wouldn't take into account all these other opinions of the other models. And what we want is as much information as possible. Now, this is something that is encouraging. As we get to Thursday of next week, a week from today, they're clustered close together. That gives us a lot of confidence in the forecast if they're all sort of trending the same way. Now, you hear us talk about the European model and the American model. We don't want to look at these too far out, but we're about a week out. We're still going to see probably a lot of fluctuation with these, but we've actually had some fairly good agreement. Right now, these two models, these large and long-range models, place it between Bermuda and the United States. So we'll keep checking in with that. But again, we'll likely see a good bit of fluctuation over the next week. If you're headed to the beach this weekend, you're all good to go. Now, early next week, we might start to see some related rip currents. And then, of course, Wednesday, Thursday, we'll be watching to see what the main impacts will be. Right now, we're still not expecting a landfall. For here, we're looking at another day of some pockets of some heavy rain, especially as we get into the afternoon. Doppler 5000 radar showed a few sprinkles in the Sandhills, and then also up in our northeastern counties, Southern Pines, seeing a little rain right now. The chances go up this afternoon to around 60%. New this morning, some of our eastern counties are now in a medium risk for flooding. We're going to see pockets of 1 to 3 inch totals as we head through the afternoon. Now, once we get into the weekend, that chance of rain finally begins to diminish, which will be great to see. And we're looking at some hotter temperatures in the 90s, Ken, over the weekend.
And some pool time.
Yes.
All right, Elizabeth, thanks. Hey, a number of incidents dotting a live traffic map this morning, but the one I want to bring attention to just happened in the last few minutes or so. This crash happened on Capitol Boulevard in the northbound lane near Durant Road. We're not seeing any delays in that particular area, but just watch for some police activity. As we take a look at the Beltline, that northern loop of the Beltline, you see the westbound lanes moving away from us, traffic picking up nicely, but flowing nicely in all directions. Really no delays whatsoever in any of the major routes coming into the capital city. Similarly, very little to no delays in the Bull City as well. You're getting ready to head into the car. We've got you covered. Tune us in on the radio, 101.5 HD3.
Still ahead, school schedule switch. Summer fun may still be on the agenda, but the new school year is right around the corner. 5 Underside explains how a little bit of planning can help avoid stress later.
NC Innovation tensions. The group plays a major role in North Carolina's economy. Why one board member is accused of damaging its reputation.
Now, if you see breaking news, have a story tip, or take video or pictures of the weather where you are, please report it to us. Go to WRAL.com/report it to send your video, pictures, or tip to our news team.
This What's Trending report, sponsored by Rug & Home.
Taylor Swift fans rejoicing, and Timothy Chalamet takes on table tennis.
Well, we've got Ken Smith here now with What's Trending.
Chris and Renee, the Swifties are very excited. The wait is over. Taylor Swift revealing the release date and cover art of her newest album. The announcement happening with some very familiar folks to Taylor. Travis and Jason Kelsey's podcast, The Life of a Showgirl, would be the pop star's 12th album.
And there are going to be 12 tracks on that album. Some people a little surprised, though, because she just released that album last year. So Taylor's been busy.
Very. She's quite the artist.
She's a song-generating machine.
Oh, yeah. Well, hey, a new look at actor Timothy Chalamet as Marty Supreme. The Oscar-nominated star will be playing a man who dreams of becoming a ping pong legend.
So this is the same actor who played Bob Dylan, learned guitar for that role, and then he trained extensively with a ping pong champion for this role. I mean, that's immersion right there. That's super talented. No doubles here. He's doing it.
I'll remember him as Paul Atreides in Doom, but that's the nerd in me. All right, listen to this tune right here. Oh, it is back, as is NBA on NBC. WRAL will air Tuesday night doubleheaders this fall beginning October 21st. Kevin Durant, Steph Curry, and LeBron James will highlight the opening night games, and Chicago Bulls legend, NBA superstar, and Tar Heel royalty, Michael Jordan, is joining the NBC broadcast team this fall. He'll be a special contributor.
All month long, we are helping area animals find forever homes during our Clear the Shelters adoption event. For the month of August, the Animal Protection Society of Durham is reducing dog adoption fees to only $25. Give a furry friend a fresh start. To learn more about this and other local events, go to WRAL.com/shelters.
Your time is 6:27, a barricade situation. The WRAL Breaking News Tracker is in Rocky Mount right now, where police are trying to get a person from an apartment. What we know about that shooting call that started this.
And student mental health, how Wake County school leaders plan to address the issue for the upcoming school year.
And a couple of showers out there this morning, especially in the Sandhills. We'll talk about when that chance of rain goes up where you are.